that he wants to make.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ajuria. So I received a call. As you know, at the last board meeting, I didn't stay for the whole meeting because I had to, I'm actually in the process of fixing up my house. So I'm still in the process of doing that. Um, so I'm not staying for this meeting. But Clinton called me, our board member, and Clinton's here, so he can always explain it further. But he raised some important issues because there was some other board members who claimed the legitimacy of the way we took the nominations the last time. So I just wanted us to be all on the same page. I wanted to, Clinton and I spoke earlier today, but I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page because when I spoke to Ursula as well earlier today, and so, in speaking to Ursula and Clinton and then like reading the bylaws and everything, we may have not done some things correctly. But I guess if we're okay as a board or as a committee, we can bring this back to the board meeting for May, and then we can straighten it all out.
Leave you're gonna have to.
Oh, so basically, my understanding from speaking to Clinton was that we took nominations from the floor. We generally do that the meeting before the election, and we generally do that after we've already come up with a slate of candidates. So Clinton does now have a slate of candidates that want to run for the office, for various offices. We're going to go to May's meeting and he's going to present the slate, at which point we're going to give an opportunity for any board member to nominate any other board member. That's generally how nominations from the floor take. A board member will nominate somebody, and then if that person says yay, then we'll add them to our slate of candidates. If they say nay, then there's no harm, no foul. We don't have to take any steps. The only other thing that we need to consider, and I didn't talk to Clinton about this because this was actually a recent development in reading, we haven't done this in the past, so I'm not going to get hung up on it. But generally speaking, the bylaws state that we have to nominate the chair of the nominating committee. For the last couple of years that we've done this, our chair has always appointed somebody to be the nominating chair. But our bylaws don't state that. They state quite the opposite, that there has to be an election for the nominating chair. But like I said, for the past the 5 years that I've done it, we've never had an election. So like I said, I don't want to get too hung up on it. I mean, I know we're always striving to do the right thing, but like I said, I don't want to get too caught up on that. The only thing that I wanted to impart on the executive committee this evening was that I was going to send an email to everybody making that point that I just stated, which is everybody should, whoever's running for office, and Clinton has a list of people, they should send an email either to Clinton directly or to me or Ursula, and stating their intent to run via email, mail, whatever their preferred form of communication is, just so that we have it in writing, it's official, and again, that it's official, we have it in writing. And then that's what we're going to present at the May meeting for the community board. And Clinton's going to present a slate of candidates, but we're also going to have their emails or their letters stating their intent to run for whatever office they chose to run for. So that I'm going to send that email tomorrow morning. Does anybody have any questions? Are we cool with that, or?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. If it brings us up to speed, that's totally fine.
Okay. Because some people, I understand some people raised, like I said, they called the chair and they were like, oh, we didn't do that properly because we took nominations from the floor at the last meeting, and that's technically not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to present a slate of candidates, at which point a board member might say, I was using Clinton as an example, they might say, oh, hey, Clinton, I think you're doing a fantastic job. I think, you should run, hypothetically, for chair. We want you to run for chair. And Clinton at that meeting can say yay or nay. And if he says yay, then, you know, we have to add him to the slate of candidates we already have. But if he says nay, then like I said, no harm, no foul. So that's generally how floor nominations from the floor happen.
Okay.
All right.
I have a question.
I just wanted everything to be cleared up. Okay, go Denise. Go with your question, Denise.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because of the fact that the Clinton, you were appointed and not nominated. Will that have any impact on us? Well, you know, being in the environment that we're currently working under, do you think that is going to present you know, we don't want anything to.
It may.
Yeah. I mean, that's an excellent point, Denise. You're absolutely right. If anybody raises the issue, we can certainly take a vote. Again, we're kind of far in the weeds already, and we're using the past as precedent because we've done this from this 5 years. It'll be 6 years this year. Yeah, so 5 years that I've done this. The nominating, you know, have always been appointed and not elected. So that's why I'm like, oh, I don't recall us. I mean, I remember even when Bill Hall was the chair that, you know, he would appoint someone to be the chair of that committee. Which technically, I'm sorry, Clint, just the chair of the committee, because this is sort of an ad hoc committee because we have to form this for the for the purpose of nominations, which we do every year. This is the only committee chairmanship that states that the chairman cannot appoint. It makes the point, you know, but theoretically the power to appoint is vested solely in the chair's position. So like I said, if somebody raises it, you know, anybody raises it at the next meeting, we can take a quick vote. I don't think anybody would challenge Clinton being the chair. And you know,
one never knows.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
This is COVID year. You never know. But what I'm saying, if it did come to that, I have no problem handing over everything that I have to that person. If it comes to that, no problem. No.
Let me just say this. I'm sorry. Let me just say this. Technically, when you're gonna nominate somebody, whoever the chair calls on first, whoever that person nominates just automatically becomes the chair.
Okay.
I don't understand, but
if I'm the chair and I call on you first and you nominate Egeria becomes the chair of the nominating committee.
Is it like one of those one vote things like it's a unanimous thing?
Yeah, no, that's it. I call on Clinton. Clinton say I nominate Egeria. Egeria is the chair. Then she's the first person, so she's automatically the chair of the nominating committee. And and then you call on whoever else, and they nominate whoever else they want on the committee.
I mean, listen, if we want to be in a position where we're crossing all our T's and dotting our I's, maybe we can make this the first issue on the agenda for the full board meeting, just not having an election for chair of the nominating committee. And if anybody challenges it, you know, we'll have an election. But if not, then, you know, Clinton will go on.
I think that should definitely happen. It should happen at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay. That's
So,
fair enough.
We'll make that the first agenda item for the full board meeting.
Okay.
Just to get it out the way, no more, so we don't build any more murk. Get it out the way.
Correct. Just no more muddy waters.
All right, so I'm going to make a note to add it to the agenda.
Right.
Yes.
Mr. Jerry, I'm just helping you out with the chat, and Dr. Diane Banks said that suggestion doesn't follow the bylaws nor Robert's Rules of Order. It might be best to legitimate. I can't even talk. By running an election to confirm his position. Just my thoughts if they matter.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, for being on the board the past 50 years, all right? Every time we chose a nominating committee, we would ask for volunteers who would like to be on a nominating committee. And they would be like say Judy recommends that Clinton be on the nominating committee. And everybody says, yeah, fine. So he's now a member of the nominating committee. You do that till you have 5 people. And then the 5 people, you just, the whole board votes on it, approves it, they are the nominating committee. And then you just ask who would like to be the chair of the nominating committee. And that's who becomes the chair of the nominating committee. And it's very simple. There's no issues, and it was appointed by the rest of the nominating committee. In other words, you got 5 members, and say Clint raises his hand, he says he'd like to be the chair, and the rest of the members of the committee say, fine, he's the chair. And that's how the nominating committee has worked over all the years of the board.
Yeah, I'm looking for it, Carl, in the bylaws, just so that I'll read it for everybody. But go ahead.
Yeah, so we never had an issue till we lost control of the meeting last month, and that's I'm running for all different offices. The nominating committee comes back, like George said earlier, with the nominations, and then we approve the nominations of the nominating committee.
Okay.
And then in the June meeting, we have the June meeting, we have the election, and then we ask individually, the secretary asks individually, is there any nominations from the floor for the chairman's position?
Okay.
If somebody says, yes, I'd like to nominate Joe Boswell for the chairman, and he accepts, then he becomes part of the people running for office. That's how the challenges are met, and this is how we've been doing it since I've been on the board.
That seems a little bit more consistent with the bylaws.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read. It's just for everybody. It's on page 6 of our bylaw book. It's the Article 5 under officers, Section 2, and it's only really 2 sentences. I mean, there's a whole paragraph, but in regards to the nominating committee, it's the first 2 sentences. Not less than 4 weeks prior to the meeting at which the election of officers is to be held, the board shall elect a nominating committee of 5 members. To what Carl said, this committee shall present 1 or more candidates for each of the offices to be filled at the election meeting. Additional candidates shall be nominated from the floor at this meeting. A majority of the appointed members present and voting shall be required to elect a candidate to office. Should no candidates receive a majority on the first ballot, all of the candidates except those 2 receiving the largest numbers shall be dropped from the ballot, and a second ballot shall take place. Voting shall be closed or open ballot at the discretion of the board. That is all that it states about the nominating committee and taking candidates from the floor, nominations from the floor. So I think Carl is right. In this situation, I'm going to amend it to say that it's not just Clinton. It's actually all 5 members have to be elected.
Right.
Yeah, and Carl is right that the nominating committee then selects its chair. Who by the way, who's on Clinton? Who are the committee members?
Theodore, James.
Yourself. See.
Denise Bond.
Denise, okay.
That's 3. Me, Theo, Denise. I get to you in a minute.
Yeah, just email it to me. Pauline?
Marlene.
Okay. Oh, Marlene. Okay.
And Sydney.
Okay, and Sydney Blair. Okay. All right, so those are the 5. All right. So just so that again, we're making sure that we're doing all the right thing. We're gonna make it the first agenda item on May's meeting, and then we'll go from there. You guys can have a discussion, and you can have a vote on who will chair the committee, and then we'll move forward so that we're following all bylaws and protocol, just so that
Great.
we're not like nobody challenges what we do.
Right. So then I shouldn't have a meeting with the committee in that case.
In your meeting, you were going to present the candidates, like the slate.
I mean, we've never met. I was gonna meet with them, but
Oh, okay.
But to me that really doesn't make sense. I mean,
Yeah.
if they have to vote on next Thursday, then why am I meeting with them? If I'm not technically the chair of the nominating committee, and they're not technically members of the nominating committee, because we don't know what's going to happen next Thursday. We just don't.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this, Clinton. The board meeting is on the 27th, right? So that gives us. You can meet on Monday the 31st if that's okay with you. That's the last Monday.
That's Memorial Day.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. The holiday.
Not officially.
I'm sorry. All right. Well, maybe we can meet the first. What's the next month? June. All right. So I'll shoot for you and I'll talk, Clinton, and we'll shoot for the first week of June.
Okay.
To have a meeting. All right.
No, I can't. I probably can't do it on the first, but anything after the first, I'm good that week.
Okay. All right. We'll talk. We'll shoot some emails back and forth, and we'll figure it out. All right. Thank you for your patience, board members.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's best to do it this way. This way, you don't have any trouble going forward.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. All right. So now let's get to the agenda. As you see, I have it already posted here. And I was wondering if from the committees, first of all, if there are any committee actions that's going to require board approval that needs to be on the agenda for next month. I guess I could talk to you, I could talk to George about it, but I just want to know if any committee members know of anything from their committees that's going to be on, that needs to be on the board approval for next month, for this month.
Transportation has two.
Okay.
There were two renaming or name additions. That a motion was passed and made for I'll tell you right now the names. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just going to my notes.
One was the one for the former board member, the one that Ursula.
Yeah, I'll email you. I'm gonna email it to you right now. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool.
Mary Jean Jefferson and Walter Bergen.
Okay, cool. Cool.
So
all right.
I do have the same people except for Sydney. Sydney's taking Frank Alaco's place because
hold on. Let me just say, can you mute yourselves?
He replaced Sydney on the committee with Frank. I mean, he replaced Frank with Sydney.
Hello? Okay. All right. Okay. So now let's get to the mission statements. All right. So as you see here, I put that a mission statement is a short statement of why an organization exists. It's just to say what your committee is about, and just keeping that in mind, and to look at the old statements to see if there's any changes that you really need to make. All right, so I just put them in a list. I put Economic Development Committee, and Ms. Judith Benitez, had presented the information that she wants for her committee. So I'm going to ask, oh wow, is Ms. Benitez on the line? Okay, I see Ms. Benitez is not here. So, so I'll just leave that at that. I mean, that's her, initial statement. She did say that she wants to drop the business services from economic development, but we'll wait and see if she gets on and she could speak more about that.
Hey, one thing. If you're gonna change names and everything, you got to do that through
the bylaws.
Bylaws. You can't just
Yes.
say I'm dropping this. It got to be done through bylaws.
That is understood. Okay, so these statements, as far as what you want and any changes, they are going to have to go to the bylaws committee. All right. So, for instance, the economic development, now she wants it to just be economic development and not have business services. So that would have to be going to the bylaws committee. There is an environmental concerns that's listed on our committee list. I don't know if that exists. Yeah, they have environmental concerns. Does anybody know about that existing or not?
I don't know if this is accurate or not, but at one point I thought that Parks and Recreation, for whatever reason, had that environmental concerns also as part of it, but then it was just Parks and Recreation. So
okay.
I don't know how accurate that is, but for the most part, we haven't really taken up, at least not under my tenure, any environmental concerns. It's been mostly Parks and Recreation. So,
okay.
But that doesn't mean that that's not part of what we should be doing. I'm not sure, 100% sure.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. I missed some of that because I'm having problems with my computer. I know that they wanted to combine the two committees, but you cannot combine the two committees until it go to. You have to change the bylaws because the bylaws has it standing as two separate committees, so you cannot combine them until it's changed in the bylaws.
So we're real clear that all of this information that we speak about tonight, that it is going to have to be presented to the bylaws committee, because there will be some changes, and like you said, some of the committees may have decided that they are possibly going to be combined, like environmental concerns and Parks and Recreation. All right, so I mean, as we are all clear, they are going to go to the bylaws committee. All right. Yes.
In terms of it being combined, I think that it's really two separate entities, but I'm not, I'm not clear on how the environmental concerns should be roped in with Parks and Recreation. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Yes, so environmental concerns. Ursula, do you have any information on how environmental concerns may have started or what they used to do?
So from time to time, we get information regarding, say we got information regarding Hexagon.
Okay.
So we get information regarding remedials that are going on here and there. So they used to meet with whoever was doing the work. So what happened was sometimes when Ms. Brasati could not attend the meeting, Mr. Boraz would do it for her. So that's how that committee started working as one, but it is actually two separate committees.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that is something to consider, when we look at whether or not the environmental concerns right now, it could involve the developer when a developer comes into the community, and whether or not they did an environmental study too, so that's something that we have to take into consideration when we think about that. The Health and Human Services, that's Carl Lanzano. Mr. Lanzano is, why don't I just go through the ones that gave me an update? All right, Denise Bond, I know that you have something in mind, But let me go through the transportation and capital projects, for instance. All right, John Isaac, you want to speak on that?
Yes. I revised the mission statement, kind of like, like what everyone is trying to do based on what we're doing. And I wrote the Transportation and Capital Improvement Committee reviews and make recommendations on local issues involving the New York City Department of Transportation, the New York State Metropolitan Transportation Authority, and the NYC Department of Design and Construction. The committee reviews all matters affecting safety, security, and efficiency of the transportation systems that support the livability and economic vitality of Community Board 12. The scope of the business before the committee usually includes streetscape designs and redesign, mass transit service, which is bus, subway bus, Metro North Railroad, taxi and paratransit service for disability accessory, license renewal, traffic signals, speed bump signage, and capital construction project and on city street and infrastructure.
Okay. All right. And then I see Tolene Dickerson is not really on the line right now. All right. I see this cut off. It did cut off. All right. So the Youth and Education Services Committee, she had her mission statement. And I would ask even Miss Coronel, if you could speak on what you had.
Sure. So
Okay.
do you want me to pull it up so that I can read it? It'll take me 2
Yes.
seconds. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. So our mission statement is Bronx Community Board 12's not-for-profit organization will work to establish a more resourceful community that is rich with resources accessible within Community Board 12. The 501c3 organization will advocate for the community and its residents to improve their quality of life. It will aim to implement and establish initiatives that will address the disparities and the inequities they experience.
Okay. All right. So let me just ask, as far as the other members are concerned, I mean, these are working mission statements, but let me ask you, like, say for land use, Mr. Carl Stricker,
Yes.
did you have any changes that you're going to make to the land use committee?
I don't know. I think it speaks for itself.
Okay. All right. Robert Hall, did you have any changes to make to housing committee?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, no, I really didn't. I'm going to be honest with you, although I'd still want to talk to a couple of my committee members to see if they want to invoke some new wording, but it's very basic. That's pretty much it. You know, I'm very busy now because of these housing developments. Boston Seacorp just got privatized.
Yeah.
Within the last 36 hours. So I've been very busy. And I didn't lend myself to the mission statement, but it's pretty much the same, the best interests of the community. All right, I didn't want to change anything.
Okay. All right. So who are your other committee members?
The Browns, Deacon Brown, Victor Brown. Deacon Edward Brown, Victor Brown.
Okay.
I guess I lost Nicole Ware. She was supposed to be my vice chair, so I'll be in pursuit. and I'm knocking on the door to our chairman to get more people.
Okay.
And when they come out of the hiding place, they'll have to come to housing.
Okay. All right. All right. So libraries and cultural affairs, Ms. Claude. Ms. Claude.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I have not had the time to delve into this because of family obligations.
Oh, yes,
But
I
I
know.
will review. Yeah, I will review and let you know very
Okay.
soon.
All right. And public safety, I know was Alfredo. He's not here. So what about parks and recreation? Okay, go ahead, Ms. Bond. Have you had any movement forward? Ms. Bond?
Oh, wait, I was talking away and you couldn't hear me. Sorry.
Okay.
What I was saying is that my plan is to have it at the end of the week in my meeting in April. Yes, my meeting in April. No, I'm sorry, in my meeting in May. I did reach out to the community and to the other committee members to ask if they would like to have input, and no one reached out to me to say that they wanted to have any input in that. So I will go ahead and draft something and send it to you, and then you can look it over and tell me if you think I should add something. I've never had to draft a mission statement before, so any input would be appreciated.
Okay, and who else is on your committee?
Theodore James.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me one second. Oh, I thought I was going to say, and Ms. Lucille Martin.
Okay.
Okay, that's the only other two voting members I have. I have some non-voting members from the community, Ms. Pabon and Mr. Toba.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to close this out. I mean, because as we saw this and everybody who is here, you know, spoke to what they think for their mission statement. And if you should think about it, you know, I mean, I did have the thing is, these are the mission statements that is really on the website. And we just wanted to have that website updated, you know, to reflect just what you really are doing and what you really are about. The other thing is, you know, that there is a discipline committee that is supposed to be generated, and that would be the only other committee to be added to the list, you know, is the discipline committee. All right. Yeah, it's the only other thing. I mean, the discipline committee and its mission is going to have to be in alignment with what the borough president had already set forth as far as that committee is concerned. So does anybody else have anything they want to say? Because
Yes.
yes, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you and good to be here sharing space with you all. I'm not sure if you received the email that Ursula sent with the community survey in English and Spanish and the flyers. I really need help in helping circulate that. We're only at, I think the last time I checked, we were like at 58 people. That's not really reflective of all of our neighbors and residents and our needs. So in the email, there's a direct link, and there's also a flyer that I created that if you have a favorite local business or restaurant, maybe you can ask them to post it. I added a QR code, so all people would have to do is scan it if you post it, and it takes you directly to the link, the survey in English and Spanish. So if you can help me circulate that, talk to your committee members. We really need to push this. It's really to benefit our residents and ourselves. So if you can help me with that, that would help me out tremendously. Because of the pandemic, it's hard to door knock. So digital, it's really the move.
Okay.
That's my ask. Thank you.
Is there a deadline for that?
We wanted to give ourselves 6 weeks. However, it's taking a while to get through to folks. So that's why I'm asking you all for help. But ideally, we wanted to give ourselves 6 weeks. So that would have taken us through mid-June.
Yeah, so we want to have it so that we could get it and gather the, you know, the percentages to get that information by June's board meeting. You know, because we want to finalize it. You know, we have to finalize, are we going to pursue a not-for-profit committee?
And I think we're all in agreement, right? In these meetings, we've been talking a lot about developing an educational center, right? And not just vocational and trainings and licenses, but also we need to cover mental health, financial literacy. There's an array of things that we would like to add to this possible educational center. So really getting the information from our neighbors and residents and family members that live in this neighborhood of what they would be interested in if we did have such an educational center is really important.
Yes. So we already spoke to the legal department and they gave us some information, you know, that says they think that this is doable through the planning board. Is very possible, but we are still looking at them meeting with another team as far as the legal department to talk about just what the criteria would be if we had this not-for-profit organization that is produced through the board. It is a not-for-profit organization that is not going to solicit for money from individuals. This is a not-for-profit organization that would really only concentrate on grants, grant writing and grant development, you know, for the very purposes that we spoke about. So that's where that's at.
And what I just wanted to share one more thing in terms of the legalities of it. To start a nonprofit, you do need legal advice. So we have partnered up with the New York Lawyers for Public Interest. They're a nonprofit, and they basically are ready as soon as we are, and we get the okay to partner us with a firm, a prestigious firm, and they would do all of the legal work for us pro bono. So that at least is covered. What we really need again is getting the push on these surveys and getting that information so that they said that if we continue in this path, we get the go ahead, we could have our nonprofit by the end of the summer, which means we can start applying for grants by the end of the summer.
Yes. Okay, does anybody else have anything? Okay. Seeing none and saying none. It's just that we really want the mission statements to be, you know, intact and tight so that if it is presented to you know, the entity that submits these information on the website, because the website is really dated, as is the mission statements really, because they were written in 2000. So that's the purpose of, you know, trying to update it. So are there any questions or anything that anybody else has to say?
Yeah, Ms. Bennett, just
Yes.
in case we decide to change our mission statement, I could get that to you forthwith and you can move on that.
Yes, you know, if you just send me, and remember, mission statements are really like 2 sentences. You know, you have to try to figure out everything that you're doing and put it in approximately 2 sentences. But you could put it in more sentences, and then we could look at it together, you know, to say, this is how mission statements are presented. And ideally, it would be good if I could get it by the 2nd week in June so that I could get it presented to George so that he could present it to the entities who are working on our website, because our website still needs work. Our website does still need work, you know, and it's just a simple thing, you know, like, let's just do it, get it done, and get it out there. You know, so anybody in doubt, you can send a mission statement to me, and then I can just work with it. You know, picking out the highlights about the importance of what you do. The importance of what you do. And I know you got your hands full, Mr. Robert. I know that they are taking over these developments, these NYCHA houses. And I know you're in there, hanging in there, like fighting for the people, like to really stay in their homes. Like really, you know, with the development and all that's going on, you know, so, you know, I'm sure they may not say they appreciate you, but we do.
Let the fight continue. We got it. Don't worry.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's right. Right. We do. We certainly do. I know that's a hard piece to handle, you know. So anybody else? Denise, Mr. Carl Stricker. That's it?
No, I have nothing else.
Okay. All right. Well, anybody call for a motion to end the meeting?
Motion to close.
Don't move.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So thank you, everybody, for this little moment about mission. And I do have the transportation message about putting the two pieces on the agenda for the board meeting. Okay, in addition to the voting situation. All right.
Thank you for a short meeting.
Yes, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Have a great night.
I do
Thank you.
like them short and sweet.
Short, sweet, and peaceful.
And peaceful. Yes. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Don't forget to send out the surveys, please.
Yes. Survey.
Survey. Okay.
All right. Good night.